hanging out and not doing much. Trying to stay away from doing some work. I've never done that. I got a whole bunch of stuff here. I gotta trying to move the equipment around, which is basically an iPhone. Just hanging out. Looking a little blotchy today. I've got stuff on my face. I have to put some medicine on it. It makes it red. So sorry about that. That's my daughter having a party of one over there. How's everybody doing? Gotta put the volume down here so we can talk. Anyway, hey, we're really putting a lot of work into our Canadian channel before we get to the topic. If any of you are fans of Canadian music, we've got Andy Kim, more of that interview coming up on Rock History Canada. Just doing some homework right now. Blair Packham of the Jitters, we've got a long interview with him. Man, he's an interesting guy. Oh, Dave Welch from the CKRA days, the first radio station I ever worked at, Dave was there. I had this impression of Dave that he had been in radio for so many years, and he hadn't. He was just really good. Greg Godovitz of Gotto, some of you might remember that. Harmonium, we've got more of that interview coming up. The flamenco guitarist Jesse Cook, we have an interview with him. He tells some really interesting stories about being at the Juno Awards that are really funny. Some of the best stories I've ever heard. One of my favorite artists, John Cody. I love Canadian musicians. What is your username? Believing Rebel. Believing Rebel. Okay, hi. This is not about that, but anyway. Klaatu, we have all three members, Terry Draper, Dee Long, and John Woloschuk. We've got all three members talking about their days of being mistaken for the Beatles. Kylie Fox is a New Brunswick artist who won like one of the top prizes in that province. I'm from New Brunswick. Mark Jordan and Maria McLaughlin coming up. So we've got a few people coming up for our channel. How's everybody doing? I would like to hear one of the most underrated Canadian bands, National Velvet. I'm not that familiar with them. But we're taking, on Rock History Canada, I just was going to do a live feed on that channel. And because it doesn't have 1,000 subscribers yet, it probably will within a month. We can't live stream on there. You said Harmonium, yeah. Yeah, they were, John, they were, you probably know, they were sort of a progressive, classical, hi Danica, rock band that released just a handful of albums. And so they've just released a classical version of some of their music. And it's gone gold, maybe platinum in Canada already. So it's kind of a cool thing. You know, I look at some of my friends doing this, and some of them go after a few more obscure artists. That's not what this channel is. We don't mean to sound like, oh God, thank you, John Potton. Rock Me Gently is my favorite of my wife. Thank you for the super chat. That's very kind of you, John. Well, we have a video you might have seen. It's on this channel where we ask Andy Kim about Rock Me Gently. And we didn't get a chance to talk to Andy as long as we wanted to. But we got him in a contemplative mood, which was really good because my son came downstairs and asked, well, he came downstairs and he said, this guy's really cool. He said, who is this guy, man? He's 17, so he doesn't know him. Of course, I like Yes and Genesis. People would ask me things like, okay, you're a Sabbath fan and a Deep Purple fan. I was more of a Deep Purple fan than I was never a big Black Sabbath fan or Ozzy fan. I wasn't really into that kind of metal thing. But having said that, I understand. I get it. And if I wanted to interview newer metal artists, because I'm so connected to a lot of their publicists, this channel could be full of that, but that's not what this channel is. I'd be doing you a disservice by putting a lot of metal on this channel because it's not about metal. But at the same time, I'll put on America or the Eagles, but they're considered, especially the Eagles, of course, are considered gold in classic rock. So this is, Klaatu is going to be a terrific interview. Well, it's already done. We've done all three. We actually did them quite a few months ago. I've just been trying to get Terry Brown in an interview. If anybody knows the producer, let me know. This is great lighting. I actually look like maybe I'm 6 months younger than I am. So I didn't hear back from him, but I did email him. I'll try him again. And hi, it's my daughter. She's rocking and rolling today. Hi, are you happy? Okay. Autism comes out in many different colors. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you a little story in about 5 minutes about. It's just one of those situations where when you're in radio, you put yourself out there, and I was a very shy kid, but I got into radio to sort of get out of my comfort zone a little bit, and I kept going. I've been hiding for so many years in my life, and I've always wanted to be a radio announcer since grade 6. What could I do to sort of get out of that shell? If what would how would radio serve me if I did that? And it served me incredibly well. I'm still managed now to get into a position where I can talk to you on the internet. Not a lot of people on right now. There's 16 people, but I can talk to you on the internet, and it's very safe for me because here I am in my living room. I've obviously learned how to speak in front of the camera, I hope. But I'm still basically in the confines of my home. I was a kid who didn't want to go to school when I was growing up because I was so shy. I just was so insecure, so incredibly shy, so scared of everything, like Dracula and every monster. And it was just, I remember there was a picture at one point of the former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, Justin's father, our current Prime Minister. And it was looking right at the camera, and whoever did it, John is back, Pookie, hi, made his face look really evil. They morphed his face into something evil, and I was staring at it like I was transfixed by it. I couldn't stop looking at it. And as Pierre Trudeau's face became a monster's face. And I like Pierre Trudeau. It's nothing about that. And I was haunted by that for weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, I know we all have our stories with that kind of stuff, but I just had a lot more fear than most people, I thought. Hi, Danica. She's rocking and rolling today. She's really hyper, so that could mean a seizure for her. So in case I have to go off really quickly, you'll understand. This is the longest she's ever gone, I shouldn't even say this out loud, without having a seizure. And so but she gets into these really high, and it's interesting, it just started happening when I got on camera. She was fine, because I don't like going on camera when she's just happy. Chase, do you have a question? What? You're on camera right now, we can see you up there. Cool. Say hi, wave. He's doing Steve Lukather right now. He's finishing the clips of, I was supposed to put up a Steve Lukather clip today, and I still might do that after he's finished. There are, I'm not sure, 8 Steve Lukather clips and 8 Joseph William clips. We were trying to make separate videos of Joseph talking about the 7th one, but he basically talks for 20 seconds about each song. I mean, I could have asked him to elaborate more, and I'm sure I will next time I talk to him. So anyway, there you go. So anyway, I got into radio because I was trying to get out of my comfort zone of just being scared of everything. Since high school, I've become friends with a lot of people who I didn't really know that well in high school. I knew them well in elementary school, but by the time we got into high school, I think that I wasn't cool enough for them or whatever. And that's okay, because I'm not haunted by that kind of stuff. But I talked to one of the most popular girls. Endorphins, yeah. I talked to one of the more popular girls in my high school a few years ago, and I just said, well, I was a bag of nerves, man. It was hard for me, even though the social part of high school was very easy. But high school, I still was very nervous. And she said, well, we all were. And I said, you weren't? You're like the most popular girl in school. She was one of the more popular girls. And she said, no, I had the same things as you. I just hid them. And she says, I happened to look a certain way that people accepted me. She was a very pretty girl. Still is. Hi. Hold on, we'll see Danica. Hi, Danica. You gonna rock it? Danica's 22, by the way. One person once said, you shouldn't put your child on TV. And I went, well, I know she's intellectually like a child, and that's true. But she's 22 now. Danica, can you eat your food? You know what she's having tonight? She's having quesadillas, and Danica, quesadilla, yeah. And she's having taco chips and salsa and guacamole. And there's my son Chase. Say hi, Chase.
Hello.
How's it going there? That Luke guy.
He's good. He's doing okay.
Yeah. What Chase does is after I do an interview, he'll chop it up into different pieces. And he'll name each individual clip what the question is. So if I ever, if someone gives me a good clip on Zeppelin, he'll also put that in, or whatever band, or, you know. And after that, what I'll do is I'll write out a piece of paper, you know, clip one, use, video one, use clip 2, 3, 4, and 5, and, you know, that kind of stuff. So he's doing that right now. And we'll have that finished, I think.
Oh yeah, probably.
Tonight, and then he'll do Joseph Williams tomorrow. I know we just put out a Joseph Williams thing yesterday. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a little story about me being in radio. The thing about being in radio is obviously it's not now. I'm voice track now in Vancouver, my show, and has been for quite a few years, since before I even met Shannon in 97. But, so I've been doing that a lot longer than most people. Chase does good work. Kirk Johnson. There you go, Chase. Thanks. You, Kirk.
Thank you.
Nice of you. So, the thing about being live, I saw that at Pookie. I'm up to 77,000. I've been saying we're going to put advertising money into the channel and start getting it out there, and we're going to. We got a lot of great super chats in the last little while, so we're going to put that money towards advertising. Thank you. When you're on radio live, though, and if you're doing a live broadcast, or here we are at Joe's Furniture, and, you know, weird stuff can happen. I've found the most nerve-wracking things in radio have been introducing bands. Because I remember how I felt knowing I was going to get into radio, and I'd see a radio guy go on there and say, hey, hi, you know, and hello from Berlin, hi. Some radio guy would come up on stage and go, hey, it's Johnny GB, and want to tell you about some contest. And I'd go, oh, God, no one wants to hear about that. And they'd have to go, hi, Danica, high five. You eat your food. Sorry about the distraction. And I would be in the audience, and I like the radio guy, and I'd go, no one wants to see you up there, man. You know, people want to hear the band. And he's here to introduce the band, but the local radio station has, well, they're promoters of this concert, so they get a chance to say a few little things up in front. So I was aware of that when I got into radio. Once I had a show at the Abbotsford Air Show. I had an introduction. So they said, would you like to go introduce Jan Arden? And a lot of our American fans might know who she is. And Ashley McIsaac, who's a Cape Breton fiddle player. Gotten a little bit of hot water through the years about some things he has said on stage. And he's controversial. Eat your food. Danica, eat your food, honey. Thank you. You have to tell her to eat. She won't eat. She'll just stare at her food. And again, if you're just tuning in, she's autistic. So I'm at the Abbotsford Air Show, and everything's going really, really well. And the first act is Ashley McIsaac, and I look out, and I think there's in front of the microphone and go, "How's everybody going?" And it's mass hysteria every time. Every time. It doesn't matter who you are. I always tell young announcers who are nervous, I'm going, just go on there and say, "How's everybody doing?" And you've got them immediately. And concerts are like that. It's mass hysteria, like I said. How would you like to win? Who said that? Oh, Pookie. Sorry, I thought you were a scammer. Sorry, Pookie, I thought you were a scammer. So, anyway, I'm at the concert. A lot of people in the audience, and I'm excited. I'm pumped. I've done it for a lot of years at that point, and I'm comfortable. So all of a sudden, I'm talking to Ashley McIsaac. I think it was his manager, and they're setting up, and people are gathering in outside. And Ashley McIsaac's manager comes up and says, "Hey, how's it going?" I say, "Hey, I'm from out east," because I'd heard Ashley McIsaac was a fiddle player, and I'm pretty sure I knew he was from Cape Breton. The thing is, I didn't know that much about him because I looked at his manager and I said, so when's she coming out? He says, who do you mean, when's she coming out? I said, when's Ashley coming out? And he looks at me with the weirdest stare and he goes, hey man, Ashley McIsaac's a guy. I thought you said you were from New Brunswick. How could you not know that? And through the years, we have holes in our knowledge. And I pretended, I knew so much about Ashley McIsaac, but I just made the connection that, we're all Maritimers, it's great. And then I was kind of like stunned. I went, oh my God. I said, I'm so sorry, I can't believe it. So I kind of shrugged it off. I felt like a cat going like this. Oh my God, I made a complete fool of myself. Pretending I knew anything about Ashley McIsaac and not knowing that Ashley McIsaac was a guy, not a girl. So fine, the band sets up, Ashley comes out, I shake his hand, how you doing? I'm gonna introduce you, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's there, thousands of people in the audience. I'm still a little stunned by what happened. I was so rattled by it. I go up on the microphone and I'm looking at the crowd and I wait, they're gonna give me a signal and I went, I feel really comfortable, yeah, this is okay. Still, a little rattled back here. And then they say, go ahead. And I go to talk. And as I'm talking, I realize I've forgotten Ashley McIsaac's name. It is dropped out of my brain. It's not even in my mind. And I'm basically pausing as I'm talking. I'm just making up crap, in front of this big crowd. My kids are in the audience. Candace and Mark, my older kids who are in their 30s now. And I'm going, hey, everybody, how's it going? You ready to go? And I'm sure the band behind me was going, when is this guy going to just introduce us? And I'm going, I can't remember his name. What am I going to say? I can't remember his name is actually McIsaac. So out of nowhere, I just told myself, I'm going to go for it. His name's going to pop out. It's going to happen. And I went, ladies and gentlemen, and the name came back, Ashley McIsaac. And the crowd went nuts, and it was great. And I was backstage, and halfway through the concert, Jan Arden comes out, and we're just hanging out on the side of the stage with a few other people. And I told her what happened because I'm introducing her next, and she's shooting out pretend names for herself just to screw me up. Because if anyone knows Jan Arden in Canada, she's a jokester. She's a very funny person, and she's giving me all these alternative names of what her name is just so that she screw me up. But I did introduce her because I was quite a big fan, and it turned out okay. But, moments like that, you're live on stage. It was before people had cameras. And I wouldn't want to see that clip anyway. There are clips where a young, nervous announcer would go up there and just, like I said, I'd always see the announcer up there before I got into radio thinking that no one wants to see them there. Just get off the stage. Okay, we got some questions. Michael Wright, big hello. It's Mike from Tasmania, Australia. Uh-oh. I just talked to Graham Goebel today. Well, we text each other back and forth today from Australia. I think he's in Melbourne. Don't be sorry about the distraction. Danica is cool. Thank you. John Potton. Hopefully your daughter is well. I have Parkinson's and have seizures. Can happen. I didn't know that, John. Sorry to hear that. Tim P, greetings, John. Karen Riley, Danica is a pretty young lady. I love you to include her in your conversations. What a good dad you are. Oh, thank you. That's nice. I just realized that this is a weird. It's strange when I do a broadcast at 7 p.m. It's 5:47 here Mountain Time. When I do a broadcast like at 7 p.m., we have like sometimes hundreds of people that come on. So this must be a weird time for. I've never done. Hello, John. Greetings from the Netherlands. Rob Damon. How you doing? Anyway, for anyone who missed my story, it's not a unique story of any kind, but sometimes your mind will go blank. Also, the last emceeing gig I ever did was at my son's wedding, my son Mark's wedding. And it's strange. I was going through a lot of depression at the time. And I was there. He asked me to MC his reception, and I thought, well, this is great. And I couldn't. I had all these notes and these great jokes, and I was in a fog for about a week before, and probably 2-3 weeks after. It was a really difficult time for me. But I didn't know I'd have a dip in depression at the time. So I'm at his wedding, and I have all these notes, and I completely forgot that I had notes. I basically winged it. It was strange. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done as a broadcaster, even though I wasn't there as a broadcaster. But I told my son Mark, I got this. Geez, I've done this hundreds of times, and I've emceed quite a few weddings. But I said, but it had been years since I'd done anything like that because I'm voice tracked now on the radio. So I remember going. This was, my wife said, "No, I was fine. What you weren't funny, but it was fine." And I just have to shrug that off. There's just moments sometimes where you can't get it back. There's a Canadian, and I've said this story before. There's a Canadian lead singer for the band Trooper, Ray McGuire. He spells his name R-A. And I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you can order a T-shirt without a PayPal, maybe. Oh, but you'd have to have a credit card for a PayPal. Isn't that how it works? Sorry, I'll look into that. Anyway, I was introducing the band Trooper one night, and I'd been in radio maybe a year. Very nervous. And I went to introduce them. I got backstage. Ray McGuire notices he can tell I'm nervous. He said, "Feeling okay?" I said, "Oh, yeah. And I met the band a few years before in my hometown. And he keeps looking at me and saying, "Man, you okay? Sure, you okay? You don't have to do this, man. We don't. And I'm embarrassed at that point. And he comes down and he sits beside me. I'm going, "Oh my God, you're making it worse. You're making it worse." But what he came up with was good. He said, when you were having to go in front of the class in high school, what was that like? And I told him, I said, "Well, God, it was awful. I always made a fool of myself. I was so nervous." He says, "Uh-huh. What would happen after you spoke up in front in class and would go back and sit down in your chair? What would go through your mind?" And I told him, I said, "I'd always feel like since I got that out of the way, I could do it now." And he looked at me, waited for a second and said, "Well, I look forward to you introducing us for a second time." And it blew my mind. I remember going, "Oh my God." And I used that tool. For so many things after that of going, I'm going to pretend I went up there and made a fool of myself, and now here's my chance to make it better. Because for whatever reason, he must have gone through that too, of going, just pretend you've already done it. These little things. Yes, I saw that, but I don't have PayPal either. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Oh, Melissa Collar. No, they had me on there. They said, "Oh, we'll do it because there was a lyric book." That's what it was. That was coming out, and I was going to get another interview. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Yeah, Ian Anderson, Dougie Fresh belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's true. Someone was mentioning the other day. The most obvious point is we're going to lose rockers. They're going to die, and they'll never get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they'll be dead. And there should be a plan to make sure we get the rockers, get people before they die. My God. Rob Damon, well, Pookie, John does have my address.
Incredible.
Oh, that's right. I can send. Oh yeah, of course. I didn't know you were that. Yeah. Okay, that was a little hint there. I can help you out. Rob, can you email me? And I'll take care of you. Yeah, Grant Funk is still alive. Loogie Fresh. Michael Schumann. Hi, Michael. You have nothing to be embarrassed about, John. Good to see you again. Well, it's a long time ago. There's something, I don't know, do you find this as I get older, I get less apologetic about things, but at the same time, we live in a different world now. You know, people, I think from a different generation, when they were getting less apologetic before everything became very PC. And don't get me wrong, I agree with it. If something's wrong, it's wrong. I don't like the mentality of, oh, come on, it's just a joke. We've been doing it forever. Well, if it's wrong, you know, it's wrong. A long one here. Dwayne, do you hear that Alan Cartwright, one of the bass players from Purple Heron, passed away March 4th? I did not, from stomach cancer. Oh, I didn't know that, Dwayne.
Incredible.
Yeah, Mark Varner, there was the complaint that Mark was wanting to change lyrics as well in some songs.
Incredible.
Because he's Christian. And though that did not come up in our conversation, he called me Brother John a lot, but he calls whoever he's interviewing brother this, brother that. That's what he does, and that's nice. I find that respectful. I'm not remotely religious, but I respect. You know, you find something, whatever gets you through the night, as John Lennon said, right? So I enjoyed my interview with him, even though it was a phoner.
Incredible.
Okay, Rob. I'll look up your email. Queen's first album is great. I liked it because it was really rockish. That first Queen album, they really rocked on that album. Keep Yourself Alive. Yeah. He's a fundamentalist Christian, is he? Yeah. But, you know, again, whatever gets you through the night. I went through that stage with, I don't think I could ever call myself a Christian, but I went through the stage of reading a lot of Bible prophecy. And it was at a vulnerable time. I think my marriage was crumbling at the time, and it was like a witch hunt, and it was something exciting. And I remember a person who was reading a lot of those Hal Lindsey books. I had a lot of those books. She came up to me and she says, "Oh, Juan Carlos of Spain is the Antichrist." And then Rajiv Gandhi, who's dead, they used to call him Computer Jai. They go, "Oh, he's the Antichrist." And then he was assassinated, like his mom. It was at that point I just unhooked a little bit and became more of a spiritual dude. And then my marriage broke up, and I just kind of reinvented myself. I just thought I need to find something that's more suited for me. I think we're all praying to the same person. I don't think there's like clubs up there. I don't, you know. So there. Lee Child, I thought it was a hippie thing. It could be a hippie thing. A few people said he's saying that because he's Christian, and I'm going, man, I like Mark Varner a lot. I find he's one of the most. He's a beautiful guy, man. He's just a fun guy to play with. But I have. It's 2 a.m. Rob, I'll take care of you. Do I have Yes albums, Wendy? Yeah, I've got a lot of Yes albums. I like the early stuff. I mean, so cliche to say that, right? It's like Chicago. Oh, Chicago was good before Terry Kath died. I'm interviewing Neil Donnell tomorrow, Chicago's current tenor lead singer. I'm interviewing Barry Goudreau of Boston, formerly of Boston, on Friday. B. Birtles, formerly of LRB, on Friday. Yeah, a few people coming up. Possibly Olivia Newton-John in May. Mark Varner tells it like it is, no fakeness. He's pretty blunt. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. I just saw my daughter coming by, but it's delayed on here because I can read the questions easier on here. By the way, for folks who watch my videos and think I'm on my phone when I'm interviewing people, it's not my phone. It's my questions. I would never go on my cell phone when I'm doing an interview, like ever. So I don't know why people say that. And you can't always bet that people know who you are because our channel's still growing. We're at what 77,000, and you never want to go. How can they not know who we are? But there'll always people say, "Oh, that guy," or that and that's what happens because there's always going to be people who don't know who you are. I was watching a Rick Beato video today where, because of the fact that he uses people's music, that he really doesn't make the amount of money that people think he does. I mean, obviously he must make some money. That's one of the reasons we don't use copyrighted music on this channel. We just don't. I can't take a chance. Were you able to pick up the Joe Wims box sets? No, they never send me anything. I never ask either. I never ask for stuff like that. I think the only thing the band ever gave me, well, was backstage passes and concert tickets. That was Steve Porcaro. And I don't ask for stuff like that. I've got so many autographs. You see the backdrop? It's actually on this wall over here downstairs. I have a backdrop of they're like, I don't know, 3 dozen autographed albums, and I've got some more in my studio. I've got a lot of autographed albums. I'd like a Little Queen autographed album. That I'd like. My Heart with Ann and Nancy. Rick Wakeman is also a Christian. I didn't know that. Final before he died. Well, I'm not sure, Wendy, what you're asking. That didn't happen. Billy Buford, not Bruford, but Buford. Yes Drama, the best Yes album without John Anderson. I have a friend named Paul. He loves that one. Trevor Horn was a good singer. Rob Damon. It will be about my hometown band. Sorry, what do you need? Oh, Chase, can you give her your phone? I'm using my phone. He's talking to his girlfriend upstairs. Every day at 5 and 6, our daughter Danica, little autistic wonder, she's waiting for her phone now. Hold on. Hi, Danica. Love you. Say hi. Say hi to the world. And she gets the phone. And there's the big boy. There's our editor. Hi, Chase.
Hello.
You talking to your girlfriend?
No, it's fine, Mom.
Okay. His girlfriend's Alicia. She's a very nice girl. The Buggles, yeah. Yeah, I like the Buggles. I thought they were kind of interesting. What's your favorite album from '71? Zeppelin 4. By the way, Graham Goebel is going to talk to me again, and he's going to talk to me about his favorite albums of 1971. We've got a lot of the last suite. I think it's coming out tomorrow or the next day. The last suite with Andy Scott. We talk about what albums he had in '71. We asked a few Sweet fans, what albums do you think that Andy Scott had in '71? I asked a few people that question. They go, okay, what do fans think? Danica? Danica? Okay, sorry, I thought you were seizing. Anyway, here I am, gobbling my nose. Okay. Yeah, Little Drummer Girl. If you have Michael Drossier's autograph, I've asked Michael for an interview twice, and he never got back to me. He also, I sent him a message, and he read my message, but he's probably too busy, and maybe he sees. I don't know. Leonette and Friends. I like them a lot. I think they're really good. I like their female singer. Man, one of my friends was supposed to set me up with the lead singer. Do you think Steve Porcaro and Luke will ever make peace? Perhaps, yeah. Yeah. Maybe. As I said in my last broadcast, I just talked to Shem. We talk on the phone now and then. See how we're doing. He's doing a lot of soundtrack work right now. Shem Von Treck, who was the bass player for Toto for a few years. So we caught up. Give Us a Wink, Pookie. That's a great album. I was so excited when that came out because it was the one after Desolation Boulevard. And when that came out, I was just pumped. Billy Buford, Focus, Moving Waves. Yeah. Lee Child, you are dropping out. Oh, am I? That's strange. I'm not sure why. Because let me check my box. No, it's still there. We have these little repeater white boxes that we put all over the house. So, yeah, that's right, Michael. Did for a second. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. So we have a few big interviews. Wi-Fi interference, yeah, maybe. We have a few big interviews we can't mention because they're not solidified yet. And the only reason I mentioned Olivia Newton-John the other day is that her manager just says, hit me up in April. You know, she's doing interviews in May, which was very nice. Got back to me right away. I almost had her a few years ago because Amy Sky, who's Mark Jordan's wife, was producing one of her albums, and they were very close with her. And it was set up or something. I forget what happened. There's so many interviews throughout so many years that after a while you just forget, like what this hand did, you just forget. There's just too many things going on. Excuse me. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I hope I'm not blocking you. The reason I use this is because now and then we'll get someone who's just being up to tomfoolery, and we'll have to we can ban them immediately. Yeah, was it If Not For You? What was that, George Harrison, or was that Bob Dylan? Yeah. Wasn't that from the first album? Her first album? I had everything. I remember I had every album going up to what's the album with A Little More Love? I had that. That's the last one I bought. Yeah. It's the color of this over here. Oh, I don't want to point at the camera. I hate when people do that. Look, I've kept most of the versions together, especially Shem and Shannon. Yeah, what can you say? I mean, it's his band for the most part. And Steve Lukather can do whatever he wants with it. He's certainly earned the right to do that. You know, I like Steve because he speaks his mind. It's just, I could tell when I talked to him with the last interview, he seemed a little tired, but it was early, and he was very gracious, and he's just one of those guys. He reached out to my son Chase when he was doing drumming videos, doing things like that where you don't, kind of have to. He's a classy guy, and you went to high school with tomfoolery? George Harrison, yeah. Steve, yeah, I was George Harrison. Steve is awesome, but aging fast. Well, we're all aging fast, right? I mean, I don't know. This is good lighting I got right now, but usually, sometimes I was talking to Jim Mastia of Boston 2 days ago. He's always FaceTiming me. And he's so funny because when he FaceTimes me, he's singing as soon as he comes on. He's got his guitar and he's singing. And I told him, I said, hey, you talked to Professor of Rock before me. Because I've been talking to him for months. And I said, no, I'm okay. I said, listen, everybody I interview, they interview 20, 30 people. And he said, I said, no, I'm not mad at you at all. No. And I like Jim. He's really funny. But he tells good stories about the early days, really early days of Boston. And as I said, I'm talking to Barry Goodrow, formerly of Boston, on Friday. And it's strange, the day I contacted Barry was the anniversary, of Brad Delp's death. So I found that, I thought, oh God, I didn't mean that. I'll apologize to him when I talked to him, but I had no idea. I'm going, oh my God. And then the day after, I think it was Tom Scholz's birthday. So I don't know I was going to try to contact Tom Scholz, but I don't know how to get a hold of him because there's no contact information on their website. There's nothing on there. I mean, he's the guy to talk to. But, I've always wanted to talk to Barry. I reached out to Barry when Tom passed away. It was tragic the way he died. And why he died. No one ultimately will ever know, but it was, Yeah, Pookie, you're right. Yeah, I'm planning on a Trey, right? We're Facebook friends, and I'll reach out to him. Someone said something about Rick Beato. Maybe he could. I don't know. But I mean, I wouldn't ask him. I don't work that way. I've not contacted any of the other guys that do what I do. There's one person who reached out to me. Oh, I don't know what it was. And I kind of thought he was a clown. I'm not going to say who it is. He said, oh, let's do a video together. And I point blank said, I said, I don't respect what you do. You know, what you're doing is you're spreading rumors about things, and you shouldn't be doing that. But I don't contact, and I don't watch a lot of my competitors. Rick, I like once every few days I'll watch Rick because I like Rick Beato. I think he's great, and I like the Professor of Rock. Those probably are my two favorites. But like in radio, I'd never listen to my competition in radio, and I don't consider them competition because I'm always encouraging other people to do this because you're going to find your audience no matter what. You're always going to find people who like you or don't like you because they don't like your face, like I said before, or they don't like the way you talk, or stuff like that. Which one's Pete Pardo again? You see the guy with the long hair? The Oceans of Tranquility, is that guy? Which one's Pete Pardo? I have to admit I haven't seen his stuff in quite a while. But if it's the guy I'm thinking about, Sea of Tranquility, yeah, he's really good. But the only thing is he does stuff that he does his own kind of, he's got his own niche. Like I would never put two albums together, and I think he's the guy who does that say, oh, this album against that album, going, well, you can't do that. But he can. Good for him. It's just something I would never do. When people pit albums against each other, I always think that, even for the same band, I don't do that. What about Ambient? But he's really good. Whenever people who do what I do something different, I always go, that's interesting. I'm originally from Montreal, Tim P. I was born in Montreal in 1960, moved away the year of Expo, 1967, to New Brunswick, grew up in New Brunswick, moved away in 1979, and then a gentleman I went to high school with, he does look like Robin Trower, you're right. Mike, you're right, yeah. He does really good work. He does his research and like that, I talked to a guy the other day who told me he doesn't do any research, and I went, what? You got to do research. You can't rely on your memory, and like ever. It goes back to that. It goes back to that Genesis guy. I think it was Genesis Archives or whatever. It's the first time I got into a conversation with someone who I just thought, like, what's wrong with you? Phil Collins, I've said this story before. Phil Collins had told a story and he got his dates wrong. Of course he did. When I was talking to Ian Anderson, he got his dates wrong for Elvis. He said, oh, it was Fat Elvis and it was this year. And at that year, Elvis wasn't big. It was it was the Elvis we all knew from the beginning. So that happens. And anyway, this guy who was, I think it was Archives, Genesis Archives webpage or something. He said, well, how could you have gotten that wrong? And he was right. And I went, oh, sorry. I got back to him and said, sorry, I got it wrong because I should have checked because I shouldn't rely on, see my dog over there? Shouldn't rely on Phil's memory. And I thought he'd go, oh, yeah, okay, no problem, But then he kind of lashed out and said, well, you should really do your homework and blah, blah, blah. And I went, you're an ass. You can't do a channel like this and never get anything wrong. It's going to I'm starting to dry up. Remember, I do these live feeds. And Chase, can you get me my water in the arm of the fridge? Yeah. Thanks, Danica. So you're always going to have mistakes. You're going to edit videos late at night. I always tell Chase when we're putting down an artist's name, this is what we do. We'll go into Wikipedia And you can copy and paste the name of the artist on top of Wikipedia and put it in the title of the video, so we don't screw up the person's name. I once said someone's name wrong, got two artists mixed up, and the artist got a hold of me and said, "Hey, man, oops, I'm like leaking all over the place here." Hi, Danica, you're sweet. Oh, we got no place to put my water. Anyway, yeah, stories and radio, crazy stories. I just thought of that story today, and I thought, what a, to recap, go to the beginning of the video, you'll see it, but I was introducing Ashley McIsaac, and I was talking to his manager, and I said, "Oh, when's she coming out?" And he went, "Ashley McIsaac's a guy, man. I thought you were from the Maritimes." So then I met Ashley after that. I felt really embarrassed. I went to introduce him, and the name Ashley McIsaac had left my brain. It's like I rejected his name. This is long before he got into trouble. The fiddle player from Cape Breton, from saying some things that some people thought were racist. And hi, Danica. Are you rocking it? Look, this is happiness. Hi, Dee Dee. Hi, Dee Dee. Are you happy? I love you.
Papa.
Not Mama.
Dada.
Yeah, Dada. When she's very excited, she gets mixed up. Because her, are you happy? Good, I'm glad. Oh, I can see myself on this. The doggy howls at people. Okay, I got some questions. Danica, honey, it's too loud. Too loud. That's okay. Okay. Mike Patrick, my mother had a friend that saw Elvis where he opened the Las Vegas International Hotel. Really? Wow. Pookie Martinez, golden earring, also with a flute, Barry Hay. Jethro Tull, class act. Lee Child, any hint of upcoming interview music style? Year of on top. What? Years of on top? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking, Lee. Real Justice, August 1st, 1969, Mike. Okay. Mike Patrick, Hot August Night. Hot August Night is one of my favorite live albums of all time. It's in the top 3 of live albums. I'm getting some weird lighting here. I gotta turn around. When Shannon came home the other day, she basically jumped on me here. I don't mean that in a weird way, but she had the dog in her hand and she jumped on me. Okay, someone might have had. Oh, you can show that. You can show that. Sometimes a comment will come up and YouTube will automatically think there's something possibly wrong with what you're saying. Doesn't mean there is anything wrong with it. Yeah, getting busy in the Beaudin abode. Yeah, famous stars. Elvis wore pink scarves, and pink scarf was found on Sharon Tate's lawn. Oh, you guys are getting into all this stuff. Did you enjoy that? Speaking of the Manson cases, the Quentin Tarantino film with I can't think of a person's name, and what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. It was there and it was gone. See, that's what happens with me. And when I was introducing, see, his name's gone again. Isn't that crazy? Ashley McIsaac. Sometimes at one point, I don't know what I was going through. I think it was going through a depressive stage. I did a few live broadcasts where my mind, things would just leave. They were gone. I'd go to get a name, and that's what happens with depression. That's how it comes through with me. I work ahead of time with my channel. That's why if I go through a bit of depression, it's not like I'm suicidal or anything. It's not like that. But I'll just not have to work for 2 weeks or something because I just don't want to. Do you think they'll ever have one of Neil Peart's kits in the Canadian Music Hall in Calgary? You mean the National Music Center?
Yeah, we already do.
They do?
Yeah, we have one.
Chase says there is one. At National Music?
Yeah,
A year ago we went there.
I think it's the one you played in Hockey Night in
Oh, okay. Yeah, he said there is Neil Peart. If it's national music, and he'd remember because Neil Peart sent him um, uh, uh, concert use sticks. So that was kind of nice. We have them downstairs. We've shown them on this view. I've shown them on my channel before. They're in a case because every single rivet on those drumsticks were made by Neil Peart. So I believe Rush will tour again with a new drummer. I believe that too, Real Justice. Well, the thing about Neil Peart is I was so surprised. Danica, honey. Shh, thank you. Love you. Thank you. The thing about Neil Peart is they kept it under wraps, the fact that he was sick for so long. Man, how did they do that? Hi. You know I'm on the air. You having a party? Party of one. Brian McLean, Steve McQueen, older friend of mine. Josie Pollock was supposed to be at Sharon Tate's party. Oh, wow. Really? That case, I remember I read Helter Skelter, I think it was in high school, or if it wasn't, hi. Or if it wasn't high school, it was early 80s. And that scared me a little bit. I don't know what it was. I was still at that point where I didn't read a lot of true crime stuff. And I read the one where, where's the doctor? Fatal Vision? Was that what's called? Fatal Vision? That one I read too, and that bothered me a lot. And there's still people trying to get him out of that, murdered his family and stuff like that. I hope I don't get demonetized for mentioning stuff like that. But it's okay. Let her rock. Danica rocks. Lee Child. Mike Patrick. Your dog sounds like Pink Floyd. Well, he goes, arr. Well, we have two dogs. We have, oh, there he is. Arr. No, let him do it. It's okay. Arr. Oh, he's coming. Hi. How are you? Come here. Okay, I'm going to bring him up. There's a culprit. There he is. Hi. It's a cockapoo. Cocker Spaniel and Poodle. But he's 1/4, he's 3/4 Poodle. And he shouldn't look like this because all his siblings look completely different. They look more like this dog. Hold on. Who's a Havanese? Hi, Danica. You rocking it? See, he's a Havanese. Hi, Danica. Oh, Danica wants to say hi. Hi. She's rocking it. Anyway, we're talking dogs now. Rock History Music update on John Beaudin's dogs. Okay, we're getting a lot of... The reason we didn't get a rescue dog was the same reason that I think Biden's dog just bit one of the Secret Service guys. Ultimately, you never know where they're from. Plus, Chase paid for the first dog we sold. Chase, what did you sell? A drum kit or a PS4? Yeah, well, for this dog. The Havanese is 4.5 years old or something. No, 4 years old. And barks a lot. It's strange that the Havanese is not barking now, but if Shannon was home, he'd be barking because he's very protective of her. Okay. Real Justice, that's very interesting. Never knew. Billy Buford, Labradoodle. Is that what you have? Yeah, I like dogs. We never thought we'd be a family with dogs, but at one point Chase came up to us. You've heard me say this before, I'm sure. And he says, "Can't I just have one dog growing up?" And we went, "Oh, we're terrible parents." So, excuse me. So we got the dog, and he paid for, I think, half of it or something. And we said, "Well, we'll pay the other half." Because we don't. I'm a farmer. Grew up on an acreage, poor family. lower class, lived in a $500 school in Northeast New Brunswick. My father won an auction for an old school. You know, the old schools, they looked like churches. They all had these same, and we lived in that. $500. We were that, how poor were you, John Beaudin? So we came from a family where we'd have a whole bunch of black or brown dogs, one after another, never at the same time. They were all called Lassie, and we got them for free. I mean, we wouldn't pay a lot of hundreds of dollars for a dog. That's kooky. But people do that now, and we certainly wanted to make sure we got a puppy. And we every time we turned around, we wanted a small dog because of Danica. We were afraid that how she'd react to the dog, and if a dog would bite her, and that would be so traumatic for her. You know, it wouldn't. Hi, no dog's gonna bite you. You're good. She's looking at me, probably thinking, Dad, what are you talking about? Because Danica is mentally challenged and mentally ill. She has both. So her understanding of things is limited. It's just the way it goes. 22 years old, and she's very pretty. So we're worried about her, but she's with us because of the COVID-19. She's with us all the time. You know, she's always here. I've said this story before, but once we were at, I was buying it. One of us was buying an iPhone, and the guy came up to her and said, "What's up? What kind of phone you buying?" And you could tell by the look on his face, he really thought she was beautiful, because she is a pretty girl. People always expect if you're autism, you're going to look a little different. Some people do, and some people don't. It's like, hi, say hi. Okay. She is rocking it tonight. I got to watch her because she could seize. I've not interviewed Devo, no. Are we not men? We are Devo. Lovely doggies. My border collie and Jack Russell are here on the couch with me. This is Mel O'Brien. How you find your Jack Russell? People always say, what was the name of that Wishbone? He was a Jack Russell, wasn't it? That dog that had the TV show. And when that show came out, a lot of people got Jack Russells. If I've got the breed right, and I'm gonna put this down a little bit. And then people started saying, oh, they're high strung and they're, you know. Danica is a knockout, sweet spirit. You think the rest of the world would pick up on it? Pookie, thank you. Yeah. Anyway, Jack Russell. I had my favorite dog might have been a golden retriever I had with my ex-girlfriend from years ago, Andrea, and she wanted a golden retriever, and we bought it, and she paid for it. But I found myself doing things with it because she was very busy. She was a realtor. She used to work at the radio station. And then when we broke up, because she paid for the dog, she took the dog. And which I thought was unfair, but now, you know, I have perspective now. I look back and I'm going, well, of course she took the dog. It was technically her dog. And the dog's long dead now because we've been separated since I don't even remember when we. But that was one of my favorite dogs, a golden retriever. That was such a beautiful, what an angel dog that was. But it once ate the linoleum because of separation anxiety and tore all the linoleum. It was maybe the size of this room. It's not a big room. So there you go. Mel says some can be nasty, yeah.
Incredible.
Love you, dog. I love doggies. Mike Patrick, Pookie Martinez, Danica. I already read that. We have 45 people watching. Anyway, for anybody who's interested in Canadian music, we have interviews with Andy Kim coming out. The continuation of that. We just got really busy when we interviewed Andy Kim for Rock Me Gently. We had too many interviews and we just couldn't keep up with it. And unfortunately, the Canadian channel doesn't make any money yet because it's almost at 1,000 subscribers, but not quite there. Blair Packham of the Jitters. We have a radio friend of mine, Dave Welsh, who worked at CKRA. When I started radio, I interviewed him. Greg Godovitz of Gatto, Harmonium, Jesse Cook, the flamenco guitarist. The three members of Klaatu coming up. Mark Jordan and Maria McLaughlin. For anyone who knows Canadian music, they know those people. But if you don't, that's okay. I'm not sure what Danglo Graba Miash means. Jim Smith, Rush. What about Rush? Okay, if you keep, okay, Phil M., you're about to get blocked. I've never interviewed Paul Anka, but I was talking to the Pablo Cruz guys, and that's another interview we got to continue. There's just still some clips on that, and one of them lives across the street from me, Paul Anka. No, I have not interviewed Rush. No. Have you heard how good Neil Diamond's voice sounds on his? Oh yeah, man. Neil Diamond sounds amazing. Serenade, which features David Paich of Toto. I told David, I said I want to interview you, blah blah blah, and I said I can't believe one day years ago I looked at the back of the album and your name's on Serenade. Anyway, yeah, David Paich is everywhere. I'd love to interview him. He was the main songwriter at the beginning of Toto. That was him. Someone asked me the other day, basically when you do a live broadcast, you're just talking for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I went, yeah, well, I'm making up for lost time. I used to be a shy kid. Always thought Gatto should have released an album called Waiting for Gatto. Mel, yeah.
Incredible.
Billy Buford, Zebra Epic. Never that familiar with them. Neil Diamond. No, he hasn't passed away. Really? No. That'd be on the national news. But like everyone would be talking about that. So I've got to see, what time is it? 6:30. 6:30 here. Yeah. No. Neil Diamond didn't pass away. Where did you hear that? Were you the same person who kept going on? Someone the other day was going on about people who have died like 6 months ago or a year ago in the last broadcast. Real Justice, Gatto rocked, and Greg is one of the best bass players ever. Oh, he told me some great stories. Greg Godovitz. If you want to see that one, it's not on the Canadian channel yet, but it will be. The thing on CNN just came up about a tsunami, but I think it's a past story. Oh, Toto 4. Oh, that special edition is $400. Yeah. I don't really buy those, and those. I don't want to sneeze. I have sneezing fits. Like I have real sneeze 45 times sneezing fits. No, I'm not picking my nose. I'm trying not to sneeze. Hold on. Danica, can you come here, Cookie? Can you turn on the fireplace? Both of them? Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to get up. The camera's too close. I have to make sure I don't have a sneezing fit. You know, all this stuff, as I get older, well, I'm going to have to move the camera anyway. As I get older, I get more idiosyncratic, weird medical stuff. Like really, I'm putting my blankie on me, and the dogs won't get off. But yeah, I'll have sneezing fits. I remember I was with my friend Rose, Lindy, and Larry. We were living in Edmonton at the time, and we said, let's get a hotel room in Banff, beautiful resort town in the Rockies, the Canadian Rockies, and let's go to Banff. Hi, how you doing? And so we went there. We went to the hotel room. We grabbed some beer. And it was cold beer. And I drank one really fast. And then we went to go to this club named Tommy's. It's 1989. And I got a chill. And I wasn't wearing enough clothes. I was wearing a sports jacket. And in Banff, being in the Rockies, it gets cold at night. I underestimated that. So having had a beer and getting a chill, I sneezed, and Lindy, who's now a doctor, counted the sneezes, and I sneezed exactly 75 times. By the time we got to Tommy's, I'd completely lost my voice, and it was an interesting night. I remember I looked like I had a bad cold because of the sneezing. If you ever had a sneezing fit, that's what happens, right? You're congested. And it stopped for years, and then since I've been in Calgary here, I started getting sneezing fits again. So we'd like to move back to British Columbia, to the interior. It'd be nice. So we'll see what happens with that. If the channel does a lot better, you know, channel's starting to do a little bit better financially, so that's good. Okay, enough about my sneezing. Poor me.
Incredible.
What do we got here? Neil announced he had Parkinson's disease, 3 years ago, but just turned 80. He seems to be doing fine. Yeah. There is sometimes people who have an ailment and they'll retire. Peter Frampton is one. He's got that degenerative disease, but they'll also want to retire while they're still on top, and they want the quality of life to not have to do this stuff. And that's what happens. Okay.
Incredible.
I didn't know that about Lee Holdridge. I remember we were talking about Lee Holdridge an awful lot when we were in the 70s. As far as arrangers, he was fantastic. I'm always scared I'm going to sneeze. Brandy is a great one-hit wonder.
Incredible.
You think I need a septum operation? Shannon had a deviated septum. My wife, Clayton Cheney. It is okay. This is why we dig this. Okay. Rick Storm. I'm about 5 years younger than you, and you just can't do the things you used to do. Rick, you know, that's the thing. I'm 61. And if I don't get out and walk in a day, I'm stiff. I've never been, you know, strange. I played hockey for 10 years and I was never very flexible in the traditional kind of yoga kind of way. You know, when I did yoga, I was not good. And it's strange I was probably the least flexible goalie that ever played hockey. But to this day, I still can't bend, so I need to do that. My vertigo swap you for sneezes, Tim P. Yeah. Parkinson's destroyed Linda Ronstadt's voice. That's true. Palos Rob. Lee Child. What happened to Barry Manilow? I don't know. What happened to Barry Manilow? I used to love Barry Manilow. I had every album up until Even Now, and I think the live album came out after that. The double live album. Was it double or triple? I think it was double. Where he's like that on the cover. Anyway. Lee Child, same here, 61. Well, you know, most people who are attracted to this channel, or like I said, the two guys I like, Professor of Rock and Rick Beato, they're all of that ilk, right? Everyone that watches these channels are in their mid-50s. You'll get younger ones, but the bulk will be mid-50s into the 70s. I get a lot of emails from people just wanting to chat about stuff, especially when they find out that, oh my God, I was born in February 1960 as well. I'm going, that's cool. I have a YouTube friend who always thinks it's funny when people want to talk to him. I'm going, why? They watch your videos. They want to talk to you. What's wrong with that? You know, be like Steve Lukather. Talk to the people. You know, in radio, I'd run into people sometimes who somehow thought they were very special because they were radio announcers. And I go, oh, come on. Seriously? You know, you think you're a celebrity now? Well, you're like everybody else. Tim P, 59 here. Billy Buford, gotta walk. Use balance, walk, shoot. Well, I've got orthotics. There you go, another sign of getting older. For me, it every fall into winter, that blade, that thing on the side of your knee, you know, goes from one end to the other. Whatever that is, the band, hurts almost every year. That's another reason why we want to move to a warmer climate. I don't want to have winters like Calgary has Colorado winters, right? It's like it can be quite cold. It's very similar. People always compare Alberta to Colorado.
Incredible.
Lee Child, we're baby boomers for sure. Tim P, it's your style that makes it appealing to watch, John. Oh, thank you. Doogie Fresh. I'm a 1960s baby too. Well, it's I don't know if any of you feel that. There's always, remember when we used to go into a record store and it was exciting to go into a record store? And even though there are still record stores now, I don't get excited going into a record store anymore. Because I'll go and I'll see, Taylor Swift and, well, Dua Lipa I like a lot. I think her music's good. But Justin Bieber, and don't get me wrong, I play Justin Bieber on the radio every single day, and I see the appeal. It's kind of like wanting my parents to like my music. And I'm glad I work at the radio station I do because I can feel up to date, keep up to date with what's going on. But it's not necessarily, a lot of that stuff's not going to be stuff I'm going to buy. I really like Dua Lipa though. I really like her music. I don't just like her because she's incredibly beautiful. But anyway, I did like. Was there a T for the Tillerman 2? I didn't know that. I like the original. I'm a Yorkville dude. Mel O'Brien. William Sanders, 58 here. Will be 59 on Thanksgiving Day this year. Well, happy birthday. Billy Buford, 62, born. We could all hang out together, man. We're all the same age. We're all in that area, right, where things are starting to change a little bit. I found for me at 55, I thought, I've got to keep moving now. My wife gets 10,000 steps in the house. If she doesn't go out of the house, she'll still get 10,000 steps, moving, cleaning. She just can't stop. She's I call her AAA personality, not A personality. But she gets 10,000 steps. Can you imagine that? I go for a walk with the dogs for half an hour, and I get, I think, 6,000 steps. I'm not sure how much steps I get.
Incredible.
Tim P, did you mean Kelly's records? Is that what you mean there? John, is it Dubé or Dube? 61. Is it Dubé? I'm from Miramichi, New Brunswick, Northeast. So are you from Miramichi? I always love running into people. Whenever I run into people who are from New Brunswick, I almost feel like we're related or something. It's like, oh, you're from Kansas. Do you know Bob? That old thing, whenever I run into people from New Brunswick, I always like light up and go, hey. There was a person that I didn't know in New Brunswick, but was from a village where I grew up. And one of my friends said, oh, she wants to be your friend on Facebook, but she thinks that, oh, she can't ask you because, I don't know, because you're doing YouTube. And I went, oh, come on, really? I never say no to if someone wants to be, unless they're crazy. If you believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, I'm not going to friend you on Facebook, or unless you don't have a real picture on your thing, your profile picture, or else you just believe in, like just kooky stuff.
Incredible.
Filled with hate, then I'm not going to friend you, but yeah, that's the way it goes. Anyway, John, where's John Dubé? Where'd you go? Cookie Martinez, between 40 and 109. Melissa Collar, I'm 66, and we used to have record stores that excite me. I feel great. Okay, cool. Dwayne, what do you think of the future of concerts will be? Well, promoters are starting to go, maybe not in Texas. I think in Texas that's going to be a mess. I think they opened up too quickly. I'm a news hound. I watch news all the time. Who was I talking to the other day? I do so many interviews I lose track. That said that they're looking into fall. Limited capacity into fall. So I hope so. I say if you can go to a mall.
Incredible.
And trust me, I'm very sick. Shannon has an autoimmune disease. Danica is immune compromised because of the meds she takes for seizures. So we're being extra safe, I think I mentioned once I walked into Walmart with no mask on because I'd forgotten. And I went, oh my God, I was one of those people. So I believe masks. Andy Scott 2021 gig. Oh, is that right? Okay. Billy Buford, hashtag New Brunswick. I don't know where that guy went. Oh, Dubé, okay. Where is this comment? Doobie. Mel O'Brien, there's some great gigs in New Brunswick back in the 70s. Who were you with, Mel? Who would you play with?
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm always interested. There's a sad thing in music that some of the hardest working musicians of all time. I'm not only talking about everyone talks about session musicians,
Incredible.
but like the Wrecking Crew and stuff like that. But some of the greatest musicians of all time. Paul McCartney said that rare interview where he said, "Well, the greatest musicians of all time probably were never heard because she got pregnant. Dad lost his job, lost his leg, whatever. She got, something happened to mom, and the person had to basically quit music. That happens, man." Dwayne, Bob Dylan wrote, "If Not For You." Thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, I thought it was Dylan. Kimberly Trickle. Hi, Kimberly. The bars by where I work started live music last night. Is that what you mean? Mel O'Brien did a tour down east with Five Shy. Oh, open up for Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. Wow. Pookie Martinez, the Wrecking Crew, and the Funk Brothers. Yeah, everyone mentions them. Yeah, that's true. Like I can see myself itching myself there. Sometimes, I just want to get on here and just hang out with you guys. I just got overwhelmed. What I do is like for Chase with the Joseph Williams and the Steve Lukather, I just tell him, I don't know if I have one here. I'll show you what I do. Oh yeah, here. Billy Sherwood interview. I'll have the title of the video, track, how long it is, the next track, that one there. And I do that from one. Billy Sherwood's feature is finished now. So usually I'll try to get, I don't know, I try to make the clips about 8 minutes now because people complain and I could understand that. But then I looked at how long people were complaining, "Oh, why don't you make your videos longer?" I'm going, people are watching like 6 minutes of it. And when I release a long form video, at least for my channel, people don't watch the whole thing. So I'm going, I'm not going to make them, 20 minutes long. People will only watch like 4 minutes of it. What they'll do a lot of times, they'll watch the first clip where the artist will talk about whatever it is. Like, the story behind the seventh one, which we have coming up with Joseph Williams, where he talks about 4 songs that he co-wrote on the 7th one from Toto. But every clip he talked about every song for 20 seconds. And I'm going, well, I can't name a title of a video after what he says if it's only 20 seconds, because people will go nuts, and I can understand that. Have you ever seen David Bowie play? Yes, at a concert with the Let's Dance era. It was in Edmonton at the Commonwealth Stadium. It was the Tubes opening up, Peter Gabriel, and David Bowie.
Incredible.
And it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Anyone who knows Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, it's an outdoor stadium. It's quite beautiful. So that was great. Have you, Barry? Have you seen David Bowie?
Incredible.
Short, sweet, straight to the point. Average interviews a week, John. Well, I have 2 tomorrow. I don't like doing. I sometimes do 3 interviews. That's too much. By the end of it, I just need to take 2 Advil or something because it's too much. So I have Neil Donnell of Chicago, the new tenor in Chicago, the Canadian. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, but he was nice. He said, "John, you've been kind to me, and it's my pleasure." So, and I have the author of this book, wherever I put it, a concert promoter who's worked with everybody. And then on Friday, I have 2, Barry Goudreau, formerly of Boston, and I have Beat Birtles, formerly of LRB. There was the three main guys in LRB as far as writing. There was Glenn Shorrock, the lead singer, Graham Goebel, and Beat Birtles.
Incredible.
So I wanted to finish that trio. We're not going to talk about them losing the name with Beeb. We've already covered that with Glenn Shorrock and Graham Goebel. I was just conversing with Graham today. So there you go. Average interview about 3 a week, usually. And we've got some, like I said, I can't name some of them, but some of the bigger interview. If I get them, they'll be some of the biggest interviews I've ever gotten. So I'm trying. Oh, Mike G, I'm in Moncton. I love Moncton. I love the mall. I like Pizza Delight. Pizza Delight. Make great pizza. And what do you call those donaires? What's the name of the mall in Moncton? Champlain Center? Champlain? Is that what it's called? Yeah, I almost got a job in St. John. I was offered a job to be the operations manager for 3, possibly 4 channel stations in St. John. I think they offered me $70,000 a year, and I remember thinking, it's not enough, not to do that. Too much babysitting. The best year in music? Well, because I'm an Elton John, I'd say the mid-'70s for me, personally, the mid-'70s. But then you got things like Breakfast in America by Supertramp in '79. '79 was a great year in music. I loved In Through the Outdoor. I wasn't a big The Wall fan by Pink Floyd. I like Dark Side of the Moon better. Wish You Were Here better. To me, The Wall could have been even less than a single album. And that voice that Roger Waters does, that sounds like an old man on there. I don't know. Love to talk to Roger Waters and tell him how much I hate his vocals. No, I don't. I don't hate his vocals. Ringo, no, it's not Ringo. I'm not. I wouldn't tell you anyway. And I wouldn't put Steve Lukather in that position. I would never say, "Hey, Steve, can you get me an interview with Ringo?" I wouldn't do that. That's not cool. We just learned that in radio, not to be. You got to be cool. You really got to watch that. Jeff Brush, hi John, and all just made it in. Did you see AC/DC at Commonwealth Stadium here in Edmonton? Hi Tim P. Awesome show. No, I'm not a big AC/DC fan. It's my job to know about them and know who they are and what's going on. I'd been in Edmonton. I'm not sure how long when Bon Scott died. I remember hearing it on K97 in Edmonton. If you're in Edmonton, you must remember Dave Welsh from CKRA 96K Light. Well, I was on that station for a few years. Anyway, I interviewed him. He's coming up on the Canadian channel. Anyone here see Pink Floyd in '77? Mike Patrick. Good question, Mike. Barry Bowman, you should interview Elton John. Oh, I wish. If I interviewed Elton John, I'd be able to say, okay, if anyone knows Elton John, I know that's a long shot. I interviewed Ray Williams, who introduced Elton John to Bernie Taupin. Kenny Passarelli, his bass player in the mid-'70s. Caleb Quay, his first major guitarist, and then he came back with the Kenny Passarelli version of Elton John band. I shouldn't say that, he wasn't the leader. For Blue Moves and Rock of the Westies. I interviewed a lot of people involved. One of the guys who is the editor of the Elton John website stuff. A lot of people involved in Elton John, but I asked Davey for an interview as guitarist. Never got back to me. He probably gets a lot. Nigel, I've never tried for. Nigel Olsen, I should try. Dee Murray, of course, is dead now. His bass player. How about Edgar Winter? Never have. Saw Jeff Brush saw Floyd around '93, Division Bell. I like that stuff with the trio. So, hold on. If you get a huge, Pookie says, if you get a huge star, John, you would have 200K easy. Yeah, maybe. Breakfast in America was the 79 Be All album plus tour. I saw the Famous Last Words tour. I met Roger Hodgson at a launch party for In the Eye of the Storm, his first solo album. He was very, very nice. And through a few people who are close to Supertramp's world and Roger Hodgson's world, they tried to get me an interview with Roger, but it never happened. I should reach out and try again. 40 Sayers. 1977 was the best year in music in New York City. Punk, New Wave, Lower Manhattan, you know. Never got into that stuff. Certainly know a lot of people who did. Bride, is that your username? It would have been cool to see Jethro Tull with Ian in his prime. Yeah, I agree. Never saw Jethro Tull. I don't remember them ever coming through any city that I was living in. I got into Jethro Tull with Heavy Horses, Minstrel in the Gallery, you know, Aquilon. I got into that later, and opposite to most people, right? Dwayne says I saw Jethro Tull twice live. Teddy Bates, anyone ever upset you in an interview? Just the three deep guys. Eddie Cibrian, who's married to Leanne Rimes, he sang, believe it or not, and Joshua Morrow, who's on Young and the Restless, and a Canadian guy. I can't believe I always forget the Canadian guy's name because he was the nicest guy in the band. The radio station, which was called QMFM, number one station in Vancouver, I worked for them, still work for them. Now they're called, they have a different name. And they said, go do this interview. We're presenting this concert for, I think it was the P&E, the Pacific National Exhibition. I'm getting tired, sorry. Because they were just joking around the entire interview. And I've said this story so many times on these live feeds. And then I went, my son was with me, Mark. He got a picture with him. And I said, guys, I don't need to do this today. It's okay. If you don't feel like doing it, I know I have days like that. And he said, oh, no, we're going to be okay. And they just kept fooling around. And they're just kind of giggling like idiots. And so I just packed up the tape recorder. I still have the interview someplace downstairs. Yes, I know that, Pookie, with Tommy Bolin. We talked about Tommy Bolin in the interview. I have every pressing of Crime of the Century, the best speakers, corner pressing. Oh, cool. Anybody have like a classic stereo? Like, is it G9000, the Sansui, that everyone's trying to get and well, of course, the Marantz stereos. I didn't like the look of Marantz receivers. I don't know why. I just didn't like them. It's weird. I wasn't into them. And L100, Henry Gross, Shannon, the guy was saying Shannon, Henry Gross's L100 JBL speakers, which were one of the prime speakers to get back then. Back then, people were all going nuts about Bose 901s, but I don't hear that as much now.
Incredible.
About Bose 901s. Saw the 30th anniversary tour of Jethro Tull in Frankfurt, open air festival. Oh, cool, Tim P. I'm going to wrap it up here in about 5 minutes. What time is it here? Oh, 7 o'clock. It's 7 p.m. Mountain Time. But yeah, after a while doing this, I'm just, it's almost like you're a crazy person talking to yourself. You're going, John Bowen's falling asleep. Be very, very quiet. Breed, I don't know how to say that. I actually got into Jethro Tull with Under Wraps, which I know a lot of fans hate. Yeah, still a fun album. Marantz 2275 still have. Cool. Is that one of the more expensive ones? Is it like 100 watts per channel kind of thing? Oh, 40 Sayers. Enjoy your Rock History Canada site. Couldn't. Yeah, a lot of people say that about Saga. Yeah. Reuben Kincaid. Your name is Reuben Kincaid.
Incredible.
Wasn't that the Partridge Family's manager? I had a Sansui from my stepdad. Took it to get repaired, and he jacked the insides and denied it. Really? I have a Sansui cassette deck. I had a, I forget what I got at Value Village for like $5, 10, 20, I forget. And there's a guy who bought it from me for I think $100 or something. And then he brought it back saying it didn't work, and I tested it and it worked. And I think he took some stuff from the inside. I'm pretty sure he did. Because all of a sudden I brought it back and it didn't work anymore. Well, what are you going to do? You can't prove it. And I didn't have to he put his headphones on and checked the channels because it wasn't hooked up to speakers or anything like that. But I think he screwed me. Rick Storm, Elmer Fudd, my name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht again. Okay, Rick. You have fun now.
Incredible.
A Sansui record player, Dwayne? Yeah. I have the same Akai. In 79 when I moved, I graduated and I moved to Edmonton. I went to a place called Kelly's on Jasper Avenue in Edmonton and bought an Akai top of the line. And I know Akai is known for cassette decks, but a top of the line turntable, which a quartz locked and everything, and a cassette and a cassette deck, which was their top of the line at the time. And the cassette deck's long gone, but it still works downstairs. Beautiful machine, but the dust cover is broken off its things.
Incredible.
Okay. Real Justice because of the Park Trend. I'm sure a lot. Because everyone, until someone is shamed for their music, and there's no reason to shame someone, you either like something or you don't, right? I was a bubblegummer before I knew what that was. I'd buy the K-Tel records, and I loved all that stuff. The Archies, and I loved sweet, sweet music. The sing-along, kumbaya kind of like bubblegum stuff. And then one day someone says, "Oh, wow, you got to listen to real stuff." So then you're shamed into listening to something else. But it's also good for you because it educates your ears. You have more depth to what you're listening for. When someone says something's really, really good, you want to listen. Some people are brainwashed and they wouldn't like that music anyway. But most people, there's a reason why some bands are really, really big. Maybe not Taylor Swift. No, I'm not. I don't like Taylor Swift's music at all. But I think she's incredibly talented. I think she's got talent. She just doesn't play music for a 61-year-old man. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm almost done here, guys. So anyway, David Cassidy did make some... People got into music because of that, of course. I'd still beat on him for doing that. Do you remember Philco TV sets and electronics? Yeah. I have a Zenith Wedge downstairs stereo. Anyone want to look that up? You could... It was one of those stereos that was like, if you looked at it sideways, it went up like that. It wasn't hi-fi, it was stereo. And I bought it because from an estate sale in West Virginia, I think. The guy's mother died, and and it had, what do you call it? It'll come to me. The type of speakers. Allegro speakers. Very average stereo. But I like the look of it so much, and I wanted it as a kid. People go around buying the toys they wanted as kids, but their parents couldn't afford it. And they buy toys as an adult because they finally get them. I understand that.
Incredible.
Vintage hi-fi is going up in value. It's crazy. I always find the best bet for vintage hi-fi is still realistic Radio Shack stuff. If your ears are, I mean, and plus as you get older, your ears are not what they used to be. So I'm looking at if I'm going to get a vintage receiver, I'm probably going to go to an STA, higher model STA realistic, and just stick with that. I don't know if I get the Mach speakers, Mach 1 or Mach 2 speakers, but because those were big suckers, remember? They had the big horn tweeter on top there. I have Clips speakers upstairs. I had Nakai all in one unit. Didn't last very long. This is Jeff Brush back in the 80s. There isn't an art to everything, and catchy pop songs is one of them. I was listening to Shakira today, "My Hips Don't Lie" or whatever on satellite radio, XM Sirius, and I couldn't get over it, and I hadn't heard it in a while. How incredibly auto-tuned it is! I just couldn't believe it. Like she sings like this when she sings really high. She's got this voice like this, and I remember going, "There's a lot of talent in that song, you know." It's quite beautiful, but I just kept thinking, wow. Did she? I'm starting to get tired. Sorry. Did they have to auto tune it so much? And what's that guy? I don't know if Pitbull's on there, but Pitbull was on every song. You know, guys like that. I don't know why I'm going. You know, I know he's a musician, but I always had a hard time admitting that a guy like him was a musician. But he is. He is a musician. I'm just going. He's just one of those guys who goes on there and raps about stuff or whatever he does. Says his name out loud. See, they're not going after a guy like me. I mean, obviously he's been incredibly successful, and so he's done a lot of things right. But it's not music that's for me. Anyway, I'm getting all grumpy now. John Beaudin, Grumpy Pants, Limited. But the dogs have had enough. Dogs have had enough of me. Look at that. They're done. They're done with me. No more dog stuff. That's it. That's what you get here. That's the kind of quality programming you get on my live feeds. I'm going to check a few more messages, and we're going to wrap it up here. Jeff Brush, have you thought of getting monitor speakers like a producer would use? I have a pair of JBLs, lots of definition. JBL is my favorite kind of speakers. It's just, I love JBL speakers. We've got that bullet thing. Chase has it, you know, the bigger one that's about this big. It's actually over there. Chase doesn't use it anymore. Real Justice, love the live feeds. Keep them coming. Thank you. Good night. Go Frank Stank. Bookie Martinez, lay down, stay down, Deep Purple, LOL. And I used to have Kerwin Vega D9 speakers. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm a little extra long-winded tonight. It's just the way it goes. Chase is doing Steve Lukather right now, so I'll have a new Steve Lukather for you tomorrow noonish. I'll be in interviews. Like I said, we have Neil Donnell of Chicago, the new tenor in Chicago. Not so new, he's been with them for a while now. And a concert promoter who's worked with a lot of basically everybody. He's going to tell some dirty stories. And then on Friday, we have Barry Goudreau, former guitarist of Boston. And we have, who else on Friday? B. Birtles, the only guy in the trio of main songwriters I haven't interviewed from the Little River Band. So, and we're not going to talk about them losing the name because we've already covered that with the other guys. Good night, John. Hey, Rick. Thank you for hanging out. I still wish there was a way. Well, we found a way now. If someone wants to get on with us, we've got a software. A lot of people are using it for conferencing, where you could say, "Hey, can I join in on the conversation?" We just send you a link, and you come on screen. You know what I mean? So we could do that, and I think that'd be a lot more entertaining than just watching my ugly face for like an hour and a half or something like that. And then people would come and go. They go, hey, can I join in? Sure. Anyway, thanks for the super chats tonight. I appreciate that. We always appreciate your donation. We're finally going to, we got to get to 100,000. So like I said, I know I always say this, I sound like the boy who cried wolf, but we have to put money into our channel, and we're going to start advertising specific videos or a sort of a trailer we're going to put together. So people can go, hey, this guy interviews a lot of people. You should check him out. So that's kind of it. The reason that I also like doing these is because I kind of like to show the other side of who I am, because this is me, and the other guys, the guy in front of the green screen, sometimes I think I'm reading the 6 o'clock news, but that's just kind of the stance that I'm comfortable doing all these videos with, right? But there's the other side of me, which is this side of me, which is one of the reasons I like doing these videos. So there you go. Anyway, everybody, take really, really good care of yourself, please. And who am I to tell you what to do, but be safe, okay? Because we're not out of this thing yet. We're getting there. I do think we'll have concerts before the end of the year in limited capacity. So we're going to be okay. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you saying that. Take care of yourself.